Hey, welcome to the Stuff You Should Think About, the podcast where we talk about things that you probably really don't have time to really go and research. But we do it here in a few minutes and try to inform you about certain things. Today's episode is going to be about how happiness works. And the reason I wanted to make this episode is because I didn't understand it I didn't understand it for a long time. I was going through life and I kind of thought that I knew what direction I was headed in, but I didn't really understand the chemistry of the whole thing. And let me start off first by saying I'm not a professional, and this is a process that I unknowingly figured out myself, going off of the saying, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, don't get me wrong, I was going through life and, I was just doing whatever I knew at the moment. So you could kind of say I really didn't know any better, unfortunately. But I came up with a process, and I did it unknowingly because I had compartmentalized some things, and one of them was happiness. And that's what this episode will be about. So, my definition of happiness is you're finding something that you enjoy, and you're doing it without putting other people's opinions in perspective and not even caring about their opinions. And in my personal opinion, I'm not an expert. I'm not saying that this is concrete, all out evidence, but I am saying that it works for me. You have to find something that you like doing, something you enjoy doing. And you have to get rid of the thought of anybody else's feelings about it, because it's tunnel vision and it's all about what you want to do, what you like doing, what you want to do. And to me, I think you have to be selfish about it, because I remember Will Smith saying this. He's saying that you're responsible for your own happiness. And at the time, I didn't really agree with it at that time. I thought Will was just saying something and, whatever. And then I heard Michelle Obama, she said the same thing, that she realized at a certain point that she had to understand that she was responsible for her own happiness. And both of these are allegedly, I got to throw that in there because I may have worded it wronger than they said it or whatever. But all due respect, it is very true. You cannot expect another person to make you happy. Another person can add to your happiness, but you have to figure out what makes you happy. And the way that I feel that you do that is you figure out what you like to do. You figure out what you enjoy doing. And it has to be void of anybody else's feelings, thoughts, or opinions, because it's not about them. It's about what you like to do. It's about what you feel makes you happy. And it has to be intentional. It has to be selfish, because the main point of happiness is finding something that's 100% about you, not about anybody else. It's not about getting done because you got to get to somebody else. It's not about somebody else calling you. It's not about somebody else and the way they feel about what you're doing. It's about what you want to do when you want to do it because you want to do it. And that's what I feel that happiness is about. And that's one part of my process. I'll be doing a couple episodes about the other parts of it, but that's the way I feel that about happiness. And one thing about happiness is that if you aren't happy, you'll ruin somebody else's happiness because you're trying to find your happiness in them, and that's not going to work. That's it for this episode of The Stuff You Should Think About. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment, follow, and help this podcast grow. And give me a comment about what you may think of.